Alright, everybody, welcome back to the Zap Yankee Podcast, Episode 9. You're listening to the voices of Nick Giamonti and
Richie Pagnato. What's up, everybody? How you doing?
What is up, everybody? How's everyone doing today?
What is up? Jim Rome in the house.
What is up? That was They need to bring back those old Budweiser commercials. Anyway, how was your day today?
Today was good. It was a good day. It's oppressively hot out, but it's still a nice day. How about you?
Looks like it's getting a little darker out there.
It's supposed to rain in an hour or two.
It's gonna rain, but we're inside. Or are we?
No, we're inside.
We're inside. Alright, so a lot has been going on in the past couple of days, honestly. Ever since what?
Since
Sunday?
Opening day. Since opening
Actually,
day.
yeah, since opening day, which has been Thursday.
It's just been crazy.
There has been a lot going on. We wanted to, start off this episode with also saying thanks for, tuning in every week at 10:30 every Wednesday. Listening to me and this guy here on YouTube and Spotify. You can listen to us on both platforms. Depending if you're watching us or listening to us on the go. Also, check us out on our social media platforms.
Yes, we're all over.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Lizap, on all of them. Stay updated on, weekly and daily Yankee news.
Yep, we're on top of it all the time. So, let's just jump right into it. So, right now, the Yankees, the Phillies, the Marlins, the Orioles, baseball is just a mess right now. So, for everybody who lives under a rock, since Sunday or Saturday, I think Sunday. Yeah, since Sunday night, 17 players and coaches from the Miami Marlins have tested positive for coronavirus, causing a complete pause of baseball between Yankees and Phillies, who the Yankees were supposed to play this week. So, Yankees were supposed to go play the Phillies Monday night and Tuesday night, and unfortunately, because of this outbreak, they couldn't do it.
And also tomorrow night at Yankee Stadium.
Oh, okay. And
yeah, it was a weird schedule where they played 2 games at in Philly, and then 1 game in Yankee Stadium.
That's very strange.
It's really weird. I don't know why they set up like that, but continue.
Yeah, so the Yankees couldn't go and play these past 2 days because the facilities were contaminated with germs and nobody wanted to get sick, and it's just a mess. So luckily nobody on the Phillies tested positive, so they're ready to go and play whenever. Like I said, the Marlins have 17 players and coaches that have tested positive. Now the MLB finally stepped in and they're like, okay, we should get involved and do something and figure it out. And they've decided on the following. So,
let me recap.
Yeah.
Not to interrupt you, it was a 4-game series, 2 at Philly Monday and Tuesday, and 2 games at Yankee Stadium Wednesday and Thursday.
2 and 2. Okay.
Yeah, all 4 postponed.
Okay.
So,
good to know. So, right now, because of this outbreak, the Marlins are off until Monday. The Phillies aren't playing until Friday. And now the Yankees and Orioles are going to start to play Wednesday and Thursday night. So, for Yankee fans, that's great because you just get to know Gleyber Torres is going to just go nuts for 2 games, which is very good. But it's just it sucks that this had to happen 3 games into the season, and now we have to pause everything. It's nonsense.
Another pause, too, is now we don't have opening day at Yankee Stadium till Friday and Saturday.
That's really annoying.
Because we were supposed to get that tomorrow and Thursday, but that got moved to now at Camden Yards. My apologies. So
yeah,
it still says to be determined, but that's just the time. Why is Hap starting? That is a whole nother thing we can get into of who's starting. But yeah, like Richie was saying, this is just honestly huge because it's a big thing, what's going on in the world right now. And a lot of people were skeptical going into the season in the first place. A lot of people opted out. A lot of people said they may or may not play, as a lot of people wearing masks. It's just a difficult time right now, and there are just people saying, well, should they cancel the season now? Should they suspend it? Was this even worth it? And yes, it's still worth it. It's still a great time to have baseball and what's been going on in the world. It's a great time to just forget about all that and just watch some, sports. And, there have been things said from Dr. Fossey and from also Commissioner Rob Manfred saying, Rob Manfred obviously has the ability to suspend the season if he wanted to, and it's not going to get to that point if they both feel like it's not safe enough to play baseball. And Dr. Fossey said, he doesn't feel like baseball's in a dangerous position right now to suspend the season. It's just one team, it's a test trial. If it happens again, I'm sure maybe we'll see some more serious measures taken. Maybe they will consider suspending the season. But also Manfred was saying, if it gets to a point where multiple teams are in the same situation as the Marlins right now, where there are multiple players or staff who are sick with the virus, then that's the point where maybe we suspend the season.
And here's the thing. The only players and people that are testing positively this bad are the Marlins. There's a couple other random players throughout the league who have tested positive, and they are being self-quarantined. They're away from the team. Everything's going fine. Look at Aroldis Chapman. We haven't heard anything about him because he's not near the team. The only major player that's having an issue right now is Juan Soto. He tested positive for the coronavirus when they started doing testing a few weeks ago, and since then, he's tested negative 6 separate times, and they still just, for some reason, aren't letting him play. So, the system is working. And that leads a lot of people to think, well, why aren't they playing in a bubble? Why aren't they doing what basketball's doing? Why aren't they doing what soccer's doing? And it's a lot more complicated. Soccer, you can find a stadium and you can go in there and you can play and you can rotate teams in and out and boom, it's done. It's an hour-and-a-half game, boom, you're done. Basketball, they're doing the ESPN Disney Center, whatever it's called. They have multiple courts in there, and you can rotate a few teams in. Plus, they shortened the number of teams that are going to be in there and the amount of games. They're going to go essentially a couple games and straight into playoffs. So that works a lot better because it's such small. It's the smaller teams to begin with. I mean, basketball, you have 12 players. Soccer, I don't know the exact amount, but it's less than 25, less than 30 plus coaches and staff. So the bubble, I don't know if it would work. I think it could work. It's just a matter of where they're going to do it. I know Cuomo came out today and said, New York has the lowest infection rates and is saying that we should do the bubble here in New York. It's no, that's not going to happen.
I just got that notification right now that Cuomo just said invites to all MLB teams that if you are having trouble in your cities, you're welcome to play at Yankee Stadium. How the hell are you going to put 30 teams at one stadium?
That's the problem.
I'm sure they would split it between Yankee Stadium and almost like City Field.
Stadium, City Field. You'd
Long Island Ducks, maybe.
You could use the Ducks. You can find any place you can. Minor league stadiums, if they're even open, considering all the minor leagues got canceled for the season.
Cuomo feels very strongly of how New York is.
Cuomo's an idiot, but let's not get into that. It wouldn't work in New York. I don't think it would.
It's fine how things are right now.
He likes to boast that, New York's got the lowest infection rate, but if you go look at numbers, I know, this is now a month old, the numbers I was looking at, it was a 5% increase between May and June, but that 5% was still 30,000, and only 6 other states were worse off. But we're not here to talk about politics.
No politics, just baseball.
But I don't think it would work here in New York. You'd have to find somewhere else, but who knows. I do think they really do need to consider the bubble and what they would do and where they would do it, but that should have been something they thought about the past 4 months, not 3, 4, 5 games into the season. Now, what do we do? How are we going to get through this? What are we going to do? Stupid. They're all idiots. The commissioner, the owner, they're all idiots.
They did kind of they did kind of like a variation, a little bit of the bubble, because it's 40 games in your own division, and then 20 games...
Yeah, that's how they bubbled you. You're playing 40 games in your division, and then the other 20 games in the opposite division, which is essentially, in the AL East, you're playing the NL East. In the AL West, you're playing the NL West. AL Central, playing the NL Central, and that's it.
If they really wanted to bubble it, I mean, you would go just past, I think, the borders of between AL and NL, because then you would have to push everyone on the northern East Coast together, because you would have Toronto, you would have Baltimore, you would have Yankees, Pirates, Phillies, Red Sox. It would be a totally different division. And they did mention that doing that kind of you remember a couple months ago when they were trying to figure out what they're seeing? Yeah, they were thinking about doing that, where the Phillies And the Pirates were in the same division as the Yankees
and the Red Sox. It was something that I was very interested in. I thought that would have made a lot of sense.
But it's too late. It's too late. The season's already started. If the situation happens again where another team comes out, say a week from now, everyone on the Pirates gets the coronavirus, like majority, like 20 players, then I think they're going to seriously consider, is this season safe to go on with?
They have to at that point. What I just don't understand is, the players were out there saying, oh, we want to do everything to protect ourselves and fans and whoever else is around us. And honestly, I've only seen one person doing it, and that's Clinton Frazier, and he just got sent down to the minors.
Didi Gregorius also wears a mask on the Phillies.
Oh, good.
And Francisco Lindor wears a mask on the Indians.
So three players out of the entire league. If you're really going to keep the season going, I know it's annoying, but wear the face masks.
You can force mask now in the league. If they want to take things serious, take a step.
If they don't want to keep having games get paused like this, they have to wear it, because all you see are the managers wearing it. And I get the managers are typically older and they're more susceptible to the disease, but no one else is wearing it. Umps aren't wearing it unless they are forced to. I think it was the Pirates game the other day.
Yep.
Pirates head coach, the ump, they got into a screaming match, and Pirates got ejected. And then as they're walking over and they start to talk, here they go, and they put on their mask, and now it's like, hey, blah, 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 and they're talking.
Still have to also maintain 6 feet of distance.
So, I get it. It's ridiculous. It looks ridiculous. But at this point, if you want games to keep going on, just wear the mask.
Wear the mask and be safe.
Yeah, exactly.
Even Martinez of the Nationals manager, he was saying, he goes, I had heart surgery last year. He goes, I don't really feel safe playing around the Marlins right now. A lot of teams don't, and that's totally understandable. 17 people, that's a lot. That is a full infield plus bench and some pitching. I'm not saying I don't know who on the team got sick, but I'm just using that as an example. That is a lot of players.
This is literally your starting roster.
That has to be majority of their starting roster has to have COVID.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that it's all bench players, it's all bullpen. No, that is majority of your starting roster, because I don't think that they've made public who has it.
They released some names, but
they don't have to. They really don't have to. But I don't know. It's a weird situation right now. I think this is just a test. If nobody on the Phillies has it besides one personnel in the ballpark, which I'm sure has been removed, everyone has gotten a triple test again.
Listen, here's the thing, though. Everybody who's getting it, they're taking care of it. The only place in all of the United States that still doesn't get it is Miami. It's Florida. They don't get it. And listen, I think the numbers in Florida are all skewed.
They are.
But they're all idiots in Florida. Well, they all are. I'm sorry if we're gonna,
Sorry, people from Florida.
Yeah, we're sorry, but it's true. It's true. They do what they want. They don't care. They were the last place to close down and the first place to reopen. And why did everything turn off?
It didn't. My monitor just went to sleep.
Oh,
sorry. I got two computer monitors in front of me right now, and they both just shut off simultaneously.
And my ADD kicked in, and it's like, whoa.
No, we're good.
But they're the first place to open up again, and it wasn't safe to open up back then. And now, look at it. They're a mess. And I will say, it probably got there late, and, that's why the numbers are going up so high now. But, if you're a professional athlete, or whoever you are, you have to take the proper precautions. Not so much like, oh, they're mandating me to do this, and I don't want to do that. It's against my free will, my rights. Just shut up, wear it, make this go away already so people can go back to work, and we don't have to cancel sports. No. At this point, listen, I'm against most of it.
Just push through the season at this point. Unless it gets very bad. And here's the thing, too. I'm not saying it's safe to get COVID now, because it's still not safe to get COVID. But thank God people who have been getting it in Major League right now, whether you're a player, your personnel, your whatever, your management or whoever, your coach, it's all asymptomatic. Nobody has been hospitalized. Nobody has been getting severely sick. And honestly, at this point, it's probably mutated by now to where it's more of, look, we're not doctors. We don't know what's going on. I don't know how diseases work.
I am a doctor of law.
Boom. But it just seems like it mutated to more of a kind of like a coldish type of disease. You know what I mean? Like more of like a flu. And but look, I could be wrong. They could just be healthier players just getting mild symptoms. But thank God, at least nobody's getting hospitalized. Nobody is out for a month or whatever. No one's dying in the hospital. Just thank God everyone is being taken care of, and just whoever's listening, just stay safe out there. Regardless, wear your mask. Even if you don't believe in it, just wear your mask. Be respectful towards others.
Yep.
Just let's get through this together. Let's just let everything next year come back to normal. Let's let baseball, football, basketball, everything, just life go back to normal. Just stay safe, be careful, open a couple beers, and just watch a great game of baseball.
Yeah, stay inside, watch, and be happy. So as you can probably tell by now, I just go on long-winded rants and I lose everything I'm talking about. So, that being said, let's go on to another rant. So...
what were we talking about? You want to talk about the cameras? Yes. Interesting video surfaced.
I don't know, it was last month or the month before.
I'm going to have the video down under us, too. Yeah. Between us, right here. You're going to see the video pop
Nick
up.
was up my ass saying, oh no, dude, like what's going to happen? There's this report that the Yankees stole signs back in 2017, 2018, and also, a judge is ruling that they have to turn over the letter
also 16.
What?
It was also in 16 too with the Apple Watches.
That stupid, the Apple Watches.
Yeah.
But it's blah, blah, blah. He's going on and on saying the judge said they have to do this, and somebody said it's going to be super damaging to their reputation. And I sat back and I said, Nick, shut up. It's nothing. There's no reason the judge could force an out of party to just turn over paperwork that is not privy to them. So I'm still not that worried about it. But this morning, somebody tweeted out. We'll show the tweet with the video. I forgot the guy's name. Tweeted out a video of an unnamed Yankee intern who was sitting in, it looked like right field or center field with...
I believe that was like a right center.
Alright, right center.
You can't really sit in center field as Monument Park.
Yeah. Who had this super fancy camera zoomed all the way in, and it looked like it was on the catcher and the batter. And you couldn't really see much else. Now everyone's speculating, oh, they were stealing signs, they're stealing signs. Look at this, why is it only the batter and why is that? Why is this wire connected here? Oh. And then Astros fans came out of the woodwork. They are loving this because they think
Michael Schwab is the person who made the original post.
So if you go and you look under the post and whatever, there's a picture of the camera and there's a picture of the HDMI slot and all the other slots on the side, which I don't know the names of. But it says, oh, it looks like something's plugged into here. And look, there's that wire, and it does this. And, oh, that must mean that they're doing a live feed somewhere. Excuse the voice crack. There must be a live feed that the Yankees are getting to see this. And going on and on and on and on and on. So Astros fans, like I said, are thrilled. Red Sox fans are through the roof. They love this. But let's be real. The Yankees weren't stealing signs. They didn't even do it in 2016. The Red Sox did. The whole Apple Watch thing was the Red Sox. The Yankees got in trouble because...
They called the bullpen.
No, the bullpen called the coach and was like, was that a ball or a strike? And they said what it was, and then they got reprimanded for it. It's like, okay...
MLB sent them a letter saying stop it, and the Yankees stopped it.
Because they didn't do anything. It was stupid. Like, why can't the bullpen call and say, oh, was that strike 3, or what happened with that call? Like, what's going on? We can't tell from 400 feet away. So, whatever. So... A lot of people come out and they said that it's not illegal what the Yankees did back 2-3 years ago, whenever this video was, that it was most likely being done for research purposes, for analytical purposes, to, find out, okay, what does this pitcher like to throw, how often do they throw it, and you are allowed to do that. It was most likely scouting.
Also, too, like, I'm a filmmaker outside of this podcast, and I was just, I was analyzing the video, and I've been reading all the comments on that video and all these different people. First of all, so many different Astro Twitter pages going off. Astros. All wrong, first of all. So I don't know exactly what type of camera they use. I've not really seen it before. I think it could be new for live broadcasting. But I'll also post the photo down here too. One of the Astro fan pages posted the side of the camera, and they're saying, look at this, this is, where the HDMI is coming out, blah, 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 this is the live feed. You go rewatch the video. There's one wire going straight into that camera, and that's it. And that wire is in the position of the power supply. So instead of using having to change batteries over and over again, you just plug the power supply in. You have endless battery for your camera. That's the only cord that's going into the camera. And you can, if you look on the, but I guess your left or right side of the screen where that guy's face is blurred out, you only see one wire going in, and that is the power supply. Now, the only thing that looks a little suspect, as well as telling Richie, is if you actually like pause the video and you look on the screen, it does look like there is a Yankee batter on the left side and a catcher, like more of his crotch position. It does look like that. Now,
the only problem though is like you can't tell who's at bat. You can't tell if it's a Yankee. You can't tell if it's an Astro. You can't tell if it's a Red Sox. You can't tell if it's Tampa. You can't tell who it is, and you can't tell who the catcher is. The video is so grainy, and you're trying to videotape a small box this big, and you can't see. So it's
another thing too. Like I was telling him, the Astros literally put a camera hidden in center field, like built into the wall. That's what they did. They didn't have someone out there with a camera with a long lens with a live feed. No, they had a camera built in. If the Yankees were stealing signs, they wouldn't make it that obvious. There are so many fans around. If you look in the video, the camera pans and you see those cheap bleacher seats are like $7.
And you see fans just walking up and down like it's nothing.
Someone would have noticed or said something or taken video and surfaced it years ago. This is back in 2018. You're telling me one person. Why is it coming
out now?
Honestly, this video could have been taken last week during practice, and then this is someone just BSing and saying, "Oh, this was taken 2 years ago." That could be a camera at a night game or a night practice a couple weeks ago. Yeah. When the Yankees were playing each other, and they were just wanting to take some video, and for analytics, that could be it too. Or worst case scenario, maybe the Yankees were stealing signs. Who knows? Like Richie was telling me this morning, because we had a discussion about it. There probably are other teams who have done this before. This isn't the Astros and the Red Sox got caught because they're dumb. That's why. And they had ex-players like Friars who left, went to the Athletics, saw the Astros were doing amazing, and said, "Hey, you know what? They were doing this."
Well, let's just make one thing clear. If it wasn't just the Astros doing this, it wasn't just the Red Sox doing this, it was half the league, if not 90% of the league, was stealing signs. This was why I was very against instant replay to begin with. I'm like, there are going to be cameras set up everywhere. People are going to just say, "Hey, can someone just replay that real quick for me? What is this sign doing? What are they about to do?" Like, we have a camera on it. It made sense this was going to happen. This was going to be one of the reasons instant replay is very damaging for MLB. So it's a mess. But
look, it is a mess, and the video is going to be down below between me and Richie. You can watch it, play it back, watch it over again. If you're listening,
we'll drop a link to the tweet
if you're listening live,
in the bio on YouTube.
We'll also have the link below too.
I posted it on our Facebook page, so make sure you go give it a like and follow, and you can watch it there too.
Yeah, and also let us know later on, maybe on one of our posts, or comment down below on the video. What do you think? What do you think's happening? Yeah. Do you think they're stealing signs? Do you think it's something different?
Do you think it's a bunch of nothing? Like, listen,
or maybe it's something we didn't even talk about. Maybe it's something totally different, and you have a different speculation.
Yeah, I posted the video in like 4 or 5 Yankee Facebook groups. Somebody told me to go away, which I thought was hysterical. She was this old Karen lady.
I can't stand those groups. I know you want me to join them, but like I left one because people on there are the fakest Yankee fans I've ever seen in my life. Like, God forbid one person has a bad game and it's like, "Oh, trade him." What is wrong with you?
That's just how people are in general. Like, that's just
crazy fans. I'm a hardcore Yankee fan. He's a hardcore Yankee fan, and it's true what people say about Yankee fans. One thing goes wrong, and you flip a shit, and you freak out for no reason. I've freaked out for no reason before, and I'm sure you have in the past too.
Of course.
It's the nature of being a Yankee fan. That's what happens.
Last week, I hate J.A. Happ, and I want him traded.
And actually, speaking of J.A. Happ, because that brings us on to our next topic that is going to piss you off. He is actually if the game continues tomorrow at Yankee Stadium not Yankee Stadium, at Camden Yards against the Orioles, he is starting. So that's fun. Are you mad yet?
I mean, well, what am I gonna do? We can't do anything about it. Yeah, you're clicking on a lot of things. I don't know. I just hope he doesn't suck. He's gonna. But I mean, we're playing Baltimore, so he shouldn't.
Who is he Who is the pitcher for Orioles? How do you even say that name?
Woj.
Woj what?
I don't know. It just starts out the same way as Adrian Wojnarowski.
Wojciechowski. That is some name. Do they have the names on the back of their jerseys?
Probably.
That is a long name for the back of a jersey. That curves. That is a long name.
Oh, and what's even funnier is, what's that? 4 and 5 games later, Cole gets to play Wojciechowski.
Hold on. They switched it. Because before, when I pulled the screen up, it said Hap was tomorrow and
good.
Cole
Look at
was
that.
Thursday.
It is Cole.
So our boy Cole is pitching tomorrow's game, if there is a game. There probably will be, but who knows? It says TBA right now for time. I'm excited for that because
it's going to be a perfect game. The Orioles are so bad, and Cole is so good.
Cole had an amazing Yankee debut.
It was
on Thursday.
It was
and
subpar.
Everyone's like, well, he only had 5 strikeouts. Okay. And he pitched absolutely amazing. He let up 1 hit, and that 1 hit was a home run. And there's people out there who are like, well, he was like, so I was talking to someone at my job the other day, like, well, if the game continued, he probably was going to let up all these runs. I'm like, that's not true. I'm like, he probably would have went 1 more inning, another 2 innings, probably the 7th inning, they would have let their bullpen come in. So I don't know what you're talking about. He's a Met fan, so.
They probably would have pulled him in the 6th just because everyone's still getting back into pitching shape.
And he was doing great, too.
He was doing well. There's no doubting that. He's been better. It wasn't his best start.
No, it wasn't his best pitching performance out there. But as a Yankee debut, he was very excited. He was still a little bit nervous, too, because he's now pitching for the Yankees. But he did great. He did absolutely great. I was so excited to see him on the mound. It was awesome. And, I'm probably getting on the Cole train with that, on the bandwagon. But I don't care. He's gonna be someone that you look forward to watching the season, and he probably will win the AL Cy Young.
$325 million, he better be something people are excited to watch.
But it will help them win a couple of championships.
Yeah, no, he had a really, really good start, first debut. There's been better, there's been worse. He didn't do anything too spectacular. He wasn't the dominating Cole that we have all become so used to watching.
He'll get there, though.
Of course he will. It's the first start of the season. All these players are still working back into shape, which is why I'm not freaking out over it. It's just what it is. It wasn't anything special. If this was back in April, when he had a full 2 months to pitch and prepare and get loose and everything, he would have dominated. There's no doubt in my mind.
Now, I've been meaning to ask you this, but I wanted to wait to the show because I wanted to see your reaction for it. Now, so for those who may have not seen the game got rained out after 6 innings.
Yeah.
Torrential downpour lightning in Washington. The Yankees are winning, so they ended up taking the win for the game. He only let up 1 hit. Now let me ask you something. Obviously, he let up like a walk or 2. Actually, he let up 3 walks, I believe. Now, if he never got that, he never let that hit go. He never got that run. He just had 3 walks. Do they count that as a no hitter because the game ended at 6? But do they count it because the game ended early?
Yeah.
That still counts.
Yeah.
So if he was perfect up to then, does that count his career as a perfect game?
Yeah.
It does?
Yes.
There's not going to be any loophole. It's it's not a complete game.
It would go down as he had 1 perfect game, but it would say 6 innings or 5 innings, whatever it is.
That would suck so much. Imagine the only perfect game you get in your career, and it's 5 innings or 6 innings.
Yeah.
Because the game got rained out. But, I actually do want to just talk about that series because, it was the Yankees up against the defending World Series champions. And the other 2 games ended up being complete. The Yankees went on to lose Game 2. It was a kind of tough loss.
Paxton got the shit smacked out of him.
Shit the bed in his first game back this year. I have to say that I think he only pitched 2 innings,
he pitched 1 inning. They took him out.
That was 1.
He pitched 1 inning, gave 4 or 5 runs. I don't remember the exact number.
And then the bullpen. I think Michael King took
Michael
over.
King came in, did 3 1/3, gave up. He gave up 4 runs, and he was doing well. His first inning, he did fine. His second inning, 2 runs. Next inning, 2 runs. So it was just rough.
It was a really tough loss but they did bounce back.
Yeah, they played well the next game. And the next game they almost lost too. Let's be real. If it wasn't for Gleyber, they would have lost.
And Luke Voigt, because Luke Voigt tied the game.
Well, yeah, Voigt tied the game.
Now, I have to say, that was an amazing comeback the Yankees had against the Nationals. The Nationals were up 2-0 majority of the game, and in the 7th inning, Torres hit a home run. They took a pitcher out. They brought a new pitcher in. Oh no, they took the starter out, which was. See if you look. Strasburg was supposed to start on Saturday. He got taken out.
Yeah, Strasburg has a
Patrick Corbin was
dealing.
Patrick Corbin was dealing on Sunday, and he didn't let up any runs. 7th inning hits. Gleyber Torres hits a bomb off of him, makes it 2-1. Nationals.
Then they pulled him.
They pulled him out for no reason.
He went 6 1/3, which he only threw 75 pitches. He only gave up 2 hits, one of them being a home run. Struck out 8. The Yankees couldn't touch this guy, and they pulled him out for no reason. And they lost the game because of it.
Yeah. Yeah, they took him out. Luke Voigt steps in. He hits a bomb. Game is tied. And then, also Torres went 3 for 4. Had a great game.
Yeah, like I said,
absolutely great game.
He hit the game and he hit the...
Scroll up, because I want to see when the third run... I believe that was in the 8th inning. 8th inning, yes.
Yeah. Yankees
scored. I believe it. It was a blooper into center field, and Aaron Hicks scored. I forgot who was at bat. I'm not going to try and guess, but Chad Green took the win. Had 2 innings pitched, 2 Ks, 1 walk. So, and Doolittle took the loss. So, at least not Paxton. Who started? Jonathan Loizaga was the opener. He was the opener, and after that, they went straight to the bullpen. And the bullpen just, did pretty good after that. Yeah. I know it was, they let up 2 runs, but still, they had a great.
Look, and I get, Loizaga, he's coming back. He only played 1 or a couple games last year, just working himself back, and it's kind of been a rough road to get back here.
I like Loizaga.
I love him. I didn't think it was fair. He only pitched 3 innings. He only had 51 pitches, 32 strikes. If you're gonna start the game, I want to see you go 6-7 innings. That's just who I am, and I understand.
The Yankees used a lot of pitch. Even the Nationals used a lot of pitching.
4. They used 5 pitchers.
They went Loizaga, Hale, Ottavino, Green, pitching a beast. Canely, who got the Yankees out of a bases loaded situation. We saw him pumped up. That was awesome.
But my problem with what the Yankees did is they're already short on bullpen help. They already are missing their closer. They sent Clinton Frazier down so that they can have an extra reliever.
They
have Jordan Montgomery down in the minors because they need the extra room for relievers. Why are you going to pitch someone, put him in only 3 innings, and then use 6 or 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. Another 5 pitchers. Now they're lucky. They didn't have to play the next 3 games, that they can all rest. But if this didn't happen, you're just draining pitchers' arms for no reason. I would rather have kept Frazier or Montgomery on the team.
Why did they send Jordan Montgomery? I didn't see that.
Who?
They sent Jordan Montgomery down.
Yeah, Jordan Montgomery didn't make the team.
You choose J Happ over Jordan Montgomery?
I mean, I would, but here's the thing about sending Montgomery down. Montgomery, we both predicted would be on the team, and he is. The only problem is, like I just said, the Yankees decided they wanted 1 extra reliever. So that's why, because they don't have Chapman. So they're like, okay, we need another arm to help keep our bullpen solid, keep everybody fresh. Let's just keep him down, and we're going to bring him up in a week, and then things will be fine. And they're probably going to send down Frazier when that happened. But now, I don't know when the hell Montgomery's going to pitch. It's probably going to be sometime next week, so he's going to be down there even longer. Frazier just got sent down so they could call somebody up to pitch. They needed another reliever. So it's like...
And we don't even know when Tanaka's coming back either.
We don't know when Tanaka should be back in a couple weeks, and that's the thing. So
yeah. I think he said he should be ready by a Boston series. I don't know if this was the first Boston series or the next Boston series.
Me neither, but
we need him back. we need Tanaka back. He's our man.
He'll be back and he'll be fine. And Paxton, he's gonna be fine. He had 1 bad game and he's coming back. He just had back surgery, and everyone was like, "Oh wow, he got back very quick." I think he had the surgery back in January or February.
Who? Paxton?
Paxton, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had it recently. So for him to come back within 6 months, it's fantastic. And like every other team, nobody had the proper training time to get ready for this. So we're going to see a lot of teams where bats are on fire and pitchers are lagging behind. And the most similar thing I can relate this to is football back in 2011. They had the lockout, the CBA wasn't agreed to and all that. They had a very rushed training camp and everything like that. And how the season started was offenses destroyed defenses. And that's what we're going to see happen in baseball this year. Pitchers, their arms aren't there, and it's much easier for a batter to swing a bat and get back into their stance that they've done forever than for a pitcher to consistently throw same arm slots, same angle, same speed, and all that stuff. And they're rusty. It's a lot harder to, get the rust off when you're going like this than as opposed to boom. So I think that not just the Yankees pitchers, not just any other team, I think a lot of the pitchers in the leagues are going to get smacked around real quick. I mean, we haven't seen anything crazy, but I mean, look at this Tigers game, 15-11. They're not good. I'll tell you that. Detroit is not good. There's no reason they should have scored 11 runs, but they did.
They lost a couple days before that.
Yeah, they gave up 10 runs. Like,
how are you so bad?
They're just bad. They're just a bad team.
Torkelson.
He'll be up there eventually. But,
so...
Even though the Red Sox got spanked the other day by the Mets, I believe. How was that game? Oh, this is spring training that we played. Oh, well, that's annoying. Alright, I take back what I just said. Hold on. Because we're just looking at the Yankees scores, MLB.
Yeah, so... Well, they still got spanked the other day, the Tigers. And I know the Mets actually were hitting some dingers off of the Red Sox the other day. Because I saw that Pete Alonso hit a nice dinger over the green. Just barely got over the green monster, too.
Over the green monster.
Just barely. And you know what? Honestly, I hate it when Red Sox fans say, "Oh, Yankees have it easy because they have the short porch in right field." You guys have the same exact thing in left field. It's just a taller fence. All you have to do is hit a huge pop up and it's out.
Yeah, like look at this. Yesterday, 2 teams scored 14. 1 team scored 8. 1 7.
Yeah, Mets beat the Red Sox 7-4.
And Miami beat the Phillies 11-6. We're gonna see a lot of more high scoring games. Twins 14-2. We're going to see a lot more high Braves 14-1 against the Mets. We're going to see a lot more high-scoring games this year, I believe. So it's just a matter of, you got to roll with it. We won't see, a great year from Paxton, probably. Probably definitely not from Happ. Probably not from Montgomery. But that we have one of the best offenses in the league. Like, nobody wants to pitch against us. It's a terrifying lineup. Your one sliver of, okay, here's a breather is Luke Voit, who, when healthy and playing a full season, he can hit you 30 home runs. He'll bat 260, but he's going to hit 30 home runs. It's a definitely lineup. And, the best part about this team, especially right now, is the one, the only, Giancarlo Stanton. And as much as everybody hates him, this is who you want. Now, first of all, there's a lot that goes into this.
We don't know where the season's going to go with him. We're just talking about the first couple of games.
No, here's what's going to happen with Stanton. I'm going to tell you right now. Sit down, boys and girls. Stanton is...
If you're not already sitting.
He's going to win Comeback Player of the Year. He is going to win MVP. He's going to win Cy Young. He's going to do everything.
Did you say Cy Young?
Yup, he's going to win it all. Stanton's batting 444. He's got 2 home runs. He's got 4 RBIs, which isn't anything spectacular. But he's only played 3 games. And here's the best part. Stanton isn't good until it's hot out. He's not good until mid-10 to July, all of August, and most of September. And lucky for him, his season
hot out right now.
Is end of July, all of August, and all of September. He's going to go nuts this season.
Look, he's already got a 444 batting average. He's slugging 1.222. His on-base percentage is at a 554 right now. He's got 2 dingers already over the fence, which he hit both 2 days in a row at Washington. And he actually has, in his career, the most home runs he's hit is at National Park.
Yeah. So that's just a really good way to start the season.
And he has 4 RBIs, too.
Yeah. So, he's going to do really well this year.
He's DHing, too.
Well, yeah. So he's going to do really well this year, and he's going to be the key to why the Yankees win as many games as they do. And... It's that simple. Everybody wants to hate him because he's always hurt. But he doesn't have to play a full season this year. It's unlikely he's going to get hurt. He's a DH. And now that there's a universal DH, he doesn't have to play the outfield when they play the National League. He's literally going to go up, swing a bat, hit a home run, walk the bases, and sit his ass down. It's very unlikely.
It's a smart move for him to DH. He doesn't get hurt easily. And because he's our best, he's our best player to be a DH. Who else on the Yankees right now would you say, oh, they could be a dope DH. No, it's Giancarlo Stanton could be the great DH. And like you said, I think he could get bounce back player of the year. But that all depends. Oh, there goes my mouse. That all depends on, can he produce the rest of the season like he did in the first series against Washington? Or will he be mediocre, or will he flatline?
I think he's going to have a great season, because here's the big thing for him. He gets to play 10 games against the Orioles, who suck. He gets to play 10 games against Boston, who sucks. He gets to play...
The only teams he really has to go against is the National League, and he has to go up against the Tampa Bay.
He gets to play...
Blue Jays, I don't know. I mean, they got the new pitcher from the Dodgers through free agency, so...
I think he's got like another 6 games against the Nationals, but those are going to be at Yankee Stadium.
You're playing the Mets also.
The Mets, I mean, when they're healthy,
believe the
pitchers,
Yankees...
scary.
I'm trying to think of who else is in the division between... Yeah, you have the Mets. You have the Phillies.
Marlins, Braves.
Pirates too, right?
Pirates are not in the NL East.
No, I take that back. My apologies.
Here, Washington.
There it is.
Mets, Braves, Marlins. But no, he's primed to have a big season, especially with all the players that opted out, who does get hurt, who does catch COVID. As long as he's literally just hits the ball and goes back to the dugout and sits down, he's going to be fine. He's going to strike out a lot, and people need to shut up.
At least Miami's in first place.
Oh my God. It's 2020, and baseball isn't what it was 20 years ago, and striking out has become an acceptable thing, whether or not you like it or not.
Well, every every team is aiming for a pitcher on their team to at least hit the high 90s or low 100s.
Not only that, you look at the biggest pitchers, and obviously they have the most strikeouts. It's obvious. But another thing that goes hand in hand, if you're going to have these pitchers who have these insane strikeout totals, you're going to have some of these batters who strike out a ton. I mean, look at Chris Davis, who can't hit the broadside of a barn. You have Stanton, you have
Chris
Judge.
Davis sucks so much. I don't understand.
But Stanton and Judge are both going to strike out 200 times a year. And there's other batters throughout the league who are going to do that. Now, luckily, their numbers won't look that bad this year because they're only playing 60 games, so they'll probably strike out 100 or 110. But, it is what it is, and you have to just get over the fact that, he's going to strike out a lot. If he can hit you 30 home runs, get you 75 RBIs this year, you're really going to be mad at him? If he leads your team, if he wins AL MVP, you're still going to hate him? It's asinine. Yes, he has a ridiculous contract, but every Yankee fan who doesn't like him should really, really, really hope that Stanton has a monster year so he opts out of his contract and goes somewhere else. That's literally what every Yankee fan should be hoping for. For one, he plays well for us. Two, he plays so well he goes away. That's what you're hoping for. And it's unlikely he opts out because he's not going to get another $300 million contract anywhere.
And if the Yankees win the World Series this year, why would you want to go anywhere else?
Exactly. So, there's a lot that goes into it. But, I mean, there are players who go to win the World Series and they could go back and they're like, there's more money here. And that's 90% of what people do. They go and they follow the money.
Like I said in the past, I've never really been on the, Stanton's fan list. I just felt like the past couple of years we fell a little short. Since, 17, he helped us. Not 17, 18, he did help us get to the playoffs.
Wouldn't be there without him.
Like I said, I've never been a fan of Stanton, but this season he is one of the players I am rooting for because I want him to have a great, amazing season in New York. I want him to help us get to the World Series. If he wins the World Series, does he move on to another team? No. I think he's going to want to come back and try and win back-to-back World Series with the Yankees next year. You have Cole for a long time. You have Stanton for a long time. I'm sure when their contract... Sanchez. You're going to sign LeMahieu again for another couple of years. You're going to keep the same team. Another thing I want to talk about, too, it's just a quick side note, is we've talked about this in the past, and, there's a lot of players whose contracts who go to free agency at the end of the year, or the contracts are up with the Yankees. Tanaka is going to be the one who gets signed. I do not think Paxton's going to get signed with the Yankees again this year. I think he's going to have kind of an off season. He already has, he played one game, and he has a 27.0 ERA.
Shut up. That's so stupid. That's one game. He pitched one inning.
I don't care.
That's stupid. You can't... He has a 27 ERA right now. He pitched one game.
I know, but
you can't do that.
You think about the past couple of years. He's always had a 5 or 6 ERA.
He's not a number one.
I know he's not number one.
If you have Cole, Severino, Tanaka. You have Paxton as your 4. He's literally every other team's 2.
I'm still picking Tanaka over Paxton.
Oh, I mean, of course you're going to take Tanaka, but you can't. They're not going to not re-sign Paxton after all they gave up to get him.
It won't be
they
a
gave up their
big
number 1 pitching prospect to get him. They're not going to be like, okay, we only wanted you for a year and a half.
They
Bye.
trade him back. he goes back to Seattle.
Paxton's not going anywhere. Get over it. The only way he goes somewhere is if like they're able to like find a trade that they can send him and Frazier and Andujar and go and grab
Castillo from the Reds.
Or Jack Flaherty from the Cardinals.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
That's the only way it happens, and it's not going to happen. The Cardinals will never do that, first of all. The Yankees have no reason to.
I just don't think he's going to have the best of year with the Yankees.
He's coming off back surgery.
That's what I'm saying.
The good thing is you get him cheap. You get a reliable, solid innings.
Well,
when he's healthy, he's one of the best pitchers in the game, and that's been his knock for years. He can't stay healthy.
Well, if they do want to resign him, they can argue when it comes to that. It's like, well, you had back surgery, you're hurt.
And what they're probably going to do is they're going to probably give him a 2 or 3 year deal. They need him. They cannot just say, no, we don't need Paxton. We're going to let you go away. We gave up so much to get you.
Or do they let him go away and try to bring up a pitching prospect?
They're not going to, though. That's the only thing. I want to see a lot of the prospects we
Garcia, King.
But Garcia's not ready.
He's still very young. He's got a while.
So Paxton's a lefty. They're not going to trade him. Whether or not they want to call people up, they're not going to let him just walk away. Like I said, they gave up a lot to get him. They gave up Justice Sheffield, who was primed to be our number 1 pitching prospect, who was best friends with CC Sabathia, who was learning how to pitch from CC Sabathia. CC was giving him all of his tips and tricks. He was going to be the next CC Sabathia for the Yankees. And they traded him for Paxton. And like I said, when he's healthy, there's no one better than... there's people better, but he's a top pitcher. When he's hurt, on the other hand, he sucks. And unfortunately for him, throughout most of his career, he's been hurt.
Yeah.
So, I'm not worried. I think we re-signed him and Tanaka. The Yankees will be very happy to have all that depth. And honestly, they're going to make Loaizaga, Montgomery, Garcia, Schmidt, and King battle for that 5th spot. And they might even go for a 6-man rotation, which was a big rumor that they were going to do this year. But it is what it is. But another thing that Nick and I could yell at each other about is the new expanded playoffs for the season. You want to talk about it?
All right. So, yeah, this is going to be one of our episode ending topics for the day. But, yeah, I have a lot of mixed feelings about this. And they went up to 16 teams, right?
Yep.
So this gives more opportunity for more teams to come to second place, or, again, with the wild card and say, hey, now I have an opportunity to get into the playoffs. Instead of it being more of like instead of winning your division and then coming in through the wild card, there's more of an opportunity for more teams to come in. And I don't know how they're really necessarily going to set up, if they're going to, how there's like the ALDS, the ALCS, World Series. I don't know if they're going to add another line and how that works.
So from what I saw,
because they really haven't said too much about it.
It's going to be like how basketball, the 1 through 8 seed on each division will go at it. But they were saying that the number 1 seed could have the option of picking who they play in the first round.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't necessarily be the ALCS, the ALDS, the wild card. They're not going to have those names. They'd probably like round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4. And then
World Series.
And then World Series. But they'll eventually think of a name because they need to have a name. But I thought it was interesting, the 1 seed could pick who they play first. It's like, do you just pick the easy win and go against the 8 seed?
Or do you pick the hardest team and try to knock them out?
Knock them out quick. So it's very interesting. But also you have to think about, like, okay, what team got hot going in? Was the 8 team a team that went 20-5 to end the season? Or was like the 5 seed a team that's gone like 10-15 like to end the season? Like, who do you want to play, the cold team or the hot team? So that does make it a little bit more interesting, because you think about it, we only have a 60-game season. There's 102 games that aren't accounted for, and like Nick keeps saying, if this season were last year, the Nationals wouldn't have gone to the World Series. They wouldn't have won. The Oakland Athletics wouldn't have gone into the playoffs to begin with the last year or two. And I feel that expanding to 16 games really opens up true competition, because we kept saying, like, what happens if a team starts out hot? What happens if a team starts out cold and now they can't make it to the playoffs? What if it was a typical postseason of 10 teams? 12
Yeah.
10, if it was typical 10 teams, what happens to those the last teams that go in, and the last 3 teams for each side that came up really, really hot, and they lost out by 1 or 2 games. And the teams that were falling out, they were on a big losing streak and they're trash. I think it opens up to make it more competitive, and you really get a chance to find out who the real, true champion of baseball is for the season.
So you're cool with, say there's a division that does, say there's a division does pretty crappy, where like at least one, someone is just at 500, but they still make second place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're cool with that team.
Yeah.
Going to the playoffs.
Say
someone like the Reds, who just maybe makes it. You're cool with them coming into playoffs, knocking out great teams, and then getting into like the fourth round.
What if they started 10-11 and 19, and then finished 20-10? That's not 500. Well, okay, if a team goes 10-20 to start off the season, like people write them off, they're trash. Then they go on fire and they go 25-5, and they're 5 games over 500. Why would I want that team in? Yeah, they may not be the best in the division, but no other team over the last 30 games was as good as they were.
I don't know, I guess it just bothers me because we could have had a longer season, but instead of doing a longer season, you shortened it, but you're going to go out and extend the playoffs.
Well, you also have to remember who's extending the playoffs. The owners. Why are they extending the playoffs? Because they make more money.
That's true.
Now it's not just those 10 teams.
But we don't even know. We don't even know yet if fans will be allowed in the stadiums this
They're still
year.
not going to be, but
I think it's going to be a full season without fans in the stadium.
Yeah, no, fans aren't coming back. The reason they're still going to make money because they're going to be on TV. They're going to get money.
Yeah, you're going to get more viewers. Yeah,
you're going to get the viewer money. And then I'm sure if it hasn't happened now, so it's probably not going to. But they could have struck a deal with, like the sports gambling sites, FanDuel and DraftKings, to like do something, and like get some money there, get some revenue. But the team that now 6 extra teams get to come in and they get to make some money, and these are teams that typically they'll be below 500. I mean, look at basketball. Like I don't like the 16 team formats. I think it's bad for the game. I think that it's not a good idea to have these sub 500 teams in the playoffs, or one game over 500 in the playoffs just to get eliminated. I get it, builds experience, all that. I don't like it. I think MLB has fun. I think 10 teams is more than enough, but for this season, I think 16 games is necessary because you're not going to have.
Yeah, this move is only for this season.
For now, this will be spoken about in the new CBA with the universal DH and all that. Because once the owners see like they made some money, that 6 extra teams made money that isn't a typical, that they typically don't make money, they're gonna be like, oh well, I want more, like bring me more, and now I can go and I have this extra 100 million, I can go and pay 20 million to some stud off the streets and make him my number one guy. It's
like becoming more of like, not like the usual format playoffs. It's becoming more of like a tournament, type of thing.
But that's what everyone's doing right now. Look at hockey. Look at basketball.
I'm not 100% against it. I have just mixed feelings about having like a really crappy team. Like if Baltimore does just slightest better than Toronto.
But we have to be realistic. Like Baltimore isn't going to be good this year. Like,
no, but
they're 2-1. It's 3 games this season. They're not going to be good.
I won't care about the standings until we're 10 games or 15 games into the season, because then that's when you're really going to see teams start to more settle in.
Yeah,
and that's going to determine their growth for the rest of the season. So when 15 games come, if one team is like 10-5. You already know how they're going to play out for the rest of the season. I mean,
but what happens if Garrett Cole gets COVID? He's out for 2 weeks, and he misses 3 starts.
But
what happens if Gleyber Torres breaks his leg? He's out for 5 weeks.
We have an arsenal of other players. We've seen it last year when Yankees got
no one is going to be as good as our 2 star players.
No, I'm not saying.
Look around. All I'm saying is you got to look around the league, and you're not going to see the teams that would have finished at the bottom of the league throughout a full season finish near the middle. You're not going to see the Tigers. You're not going to see Baltimore. You're not going to see the Mariners. You're not going to see the Marlins. You're not going to see Pittsburgh. You're probably not going to see the Rockies. Like, you're not going to see those teams in the top 16.
The Padres are doing pretty good so far. I know we're only 4 games in, but
Padres, I mean, they have a solid team. It's just their pitching sucks.
They get better and better every year.
Listen, Padres were one of the teams last year. They started out really, really hot. Everyone's like, oh, they're going to the playoffs. and then they choked. Their pitching was that bad that they couldn't overcome it with Machado, with Hosmer, with Tatis Jr. They have one of the probably best defensive infields in the league.
Machado, Tatis.
But, this is why you need this expanded playoffs, because now a team like the Padres, who are falling, they could stay in. And a team like the Diamondbacks, who are rising, they get in. Like, why? If the Diamondbacks were to finish a full season, say 90 and 72, no, that's a lot. I don't know. If the Diamondbacks would have finished above the Padres this season, why shouldn't they be in the playoffs? That's all that this is trying to do. It's trying to keep the teams that would make it in, while keeping the teams that are like, okay, you were really hot, like you can stay in, but let's get these teams that started out cold, who are getting hot and deserve to be in, who would have been better than you by season end.
So we could get close. Let's see, when does the actual season end? In 60 games, so it ends end of September?
Yeah, it's ending end of September.
So that's usually a little longer than it normally is, because it usually ends kind of like mid. Doesn't it usually end midway?
It goes to like October 2nd.
The regular season?
Yes.
Okay, so it extended playoffs, and
playoffs are going to go from October through November.
I wish it went a little further. We get some
honestly,
in Thanksgiving baseball. That'd be sick.
So they can't go that far though, because
it gets cold.
The networks already came out and said, listen, we have basketball and football and hockey. We don't have room for baseball, so
you're gonna have to private stream it. Yeah.
No. They said we're not guaranteeing that we'll put your game on TV.
No, I'm saying you would have to private stream it if
they wouldn't be able to. Nobody's going to be airing it.
Yeah,
so you wouldn't be able to stream it. Like some teams, like the Yankees, who have Yes, they might have that opportunity, but even so, they probably don't, because Yes isn't going to be allowed to film. So it's a whole problem. So what's going to happen is typically you have a day or two in between these games. Literally, they're going to be going straight through 1 day a week off.
Yeah, that's how it normally is, though. Usually it's
not for the playoffs, though. Playoffs, they make them long. They give everybody a day off here and there.
No, I'm saying usually between series you have that day off.
But but no,
there's never like randomly in the middle of a series, unless it's like a World Series where you're switching stadiums. Then there usually is that day off sometimes, but like you were saying, it just powers right through.
Also, we don't know these. They're not going to be 5-game series. They can't be. They don't have.
I think the first couple rounds are 3-game series.
They have to be.
I think it's simple. I think it's going to be more of kind of like
probably the first.
Unless you extend unless you get rid of the wild card this year and you extend that series.
Yeah,
to 3 games.
The only way there's a wild card game is if there's 2 teams that tie for the same record.
Yes, then you have the wild card game and you have a 1-game playoff. But if you're going to extend the playoffs, then totally drop that wild card game unless it's necessity for like a tied game, and extend it to 3 games, which in the past I've actually thought about. It would be cool to have the wild card game be 3 games, but
it makes sense.
It does make sense to do that.
I get it.
But you also get that one and done game.
Yeah, I like the one and done just because it's different and you don't typically get that in baseball, but at the same time, you don't get that in baseball. That's one very different game, and it changes everything.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like it. I know you're not a big fan, but
we'll see. Maybe when it comes around, it'll probably grow on me a little more.
Yeah.
But who knows?
It all depends to talk.
When they come out with a final statement on what they're doing, then I'll be a little more, lenient with it. But right now, it's just kind of like we're extending the playoffs. There's no name for how many rounds we're doing or how many rounds we even are going to do. So when that comes out, we'll talk about it. We'll discuss it again. We'll come back to the subject, and maybe I'll probably have a different approach on how I feel. But that's actually going to end today's episode of The Zap, episode 9. You were listening to Nick and Richie, as always, guys. Like we always say every week, comment, like our stuff, turn on those post notifications on YouTube, and I think there's probably one on Spotify too.
You can follow on Spotify. Go like us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. I'm posting out really dumb videos of myself on TikTok, so if you want to get a good laugh,
go watch.
Come laugh. But we're having a good time. Lazap Baseball, everything. Google
Yankees,
it, find
search
us.
it.
We're everywhere.
Tell your friends and family. People who love good old Yankees baseball, let them know we're out here.
Yeah.
And let them listen. Let them watch. have their own. They could be, they could not agree with us at all. That's perfectly fine.
If you don't agree with us, please like and
Let
follow
us know.
and tell us what we do wrong.
And tell us why you don't agree with us.
Yeah, then we can just yell at you through the camera.
Don't just say we suck. We know we suck.
Oh, yeah, no, we are not. We are not good people. We suck.
No, we're great people. We love each other. We love everyone. So, but yeah, that concludes today's episode. Come back next week at 10:30. Wednesdays in the morning, you could hear our voices and see our beautiful faces.
All right, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you later.
Peace!
This was